our next guest is living out his dream, working with the likes of Ed Sheeran and James Bay, getting millions of streams online and performing his music to thousands around the world.
But Tom's space journey just hasn't been easy. His career was nearly derailed by a battle with Crohn's disease, which saw him on the brink of death and left him needing life-saving surgery, which has resulted in him having a stoma.
Now, as an ambassador for Crohn's and Colitis UK, Tom is gearing up for a huge charity challenge this weekend. We've been talking about it. To help raise awareness, he joins us now to tell us more. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
We've been discussing your war wounds, haven't we?
Discussing war wounds and the challenge. We'll come to the challenge because I think it's an epic thing you're going to be doing.
Yes.
It's going to be tough. You're going to get through it. But just in case people don't really understand, Tom, because they'll know your music, you've had hundreds of millions of streams. You're a wonderful, brilliant musician and performer, but you have this really, really difficult condition that you have to live with.
Yeah, I've had Crohn's for 20 years, which is kind of crazy. And it's definitely been a roller coaster. You know, I was even thinking about it the other day. This is like the first time in 2 years where I haven't been in hospital every year. You know, I wrote largely most of my first album in hospital. So to do this challenge and to, you know, be raising money for Crohn's and Colitis UK, I'm super proud, really.
So, Tom, you were diagnosed with Crohn's at 19.
Yeah. So you're revealing my age here.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I'm peeling back the layers of the onion. So how did you find out you got it and what was that diagnosis
It just came out of nowhere. I was at university and I was having, like, diarrhea, you know, vomiting, weight loss and all these kind of things. And it was just, honestly, I didn't know anything about it. And I think this is why it's, like, important for me to, you know, if I can speak about it, because at the time there was, you know, there wasn't much awareness of Crohn's, and I think it's just important that we get the word out there, and because it is, you know, it's an invisible illness as well. So,
but it was super serious, life-threatening. You were 20 minutes away.
Yeah, so that was 4 years after diagnosis.
You had
20 minutes from dying, basically. Yeah, which sounds really dramatic, but
it is dramatic.
It doesn't just sound
and then I woke up with a stoma.
Wow.
And coming to terms with that must have been really, really difficult. How old were you at the time?
I would have been, 23, 24,
and suddenly you've got this stuff.
Yeah, I had like a record deal, publishing deal, and I remember thinking at the time when they were said, oh, we're going to have to put you in surgery, and I was like, I was more worried about all of that disappearing than the actual surgery itself, because I just thought, it's over for me, like, you know. I don't know any musicians that have these kind of things, and I didn't really speak about it until my third album, where I thought, if I've got a bit of a platform, hopefully then I can do it for my younger self and say, you know, it's going to be all right. And, you know, we've toured the world. I just got back from Brazil and Argentina, done Glastonbury, you know, living out my dream, but on Radio 2, which you played us, which was really cool. And, so it's, you know, I'm here hopefully to say to people at home, if you're struggling to get out of bed today, you can do it, because this idiot here is going to sign up for an army challenge.
Yes. You recently bared for the first time as well, of course. You bared all. Yeah. And you posted this and you did some sort of, you know, post about that's you. Yeah. With your stoma for the first time. How did you feel?
Well, let's be honest. 2 days later, you were on Men's Health. So I was like, I was like some budget version of Ben Shepherd for a couple of days. But no, that was nerve-wracking because I hadn't taken my top off ever in life since surgery, really. I always wear like a support band, and then to be standing in front of a camera lens with it was daunting, really. But I did it really just to own the disease and having a stoma, because, you know, I recently became single in the last year, and I kept on thinking it was like a stumbling block of like having these conversations. So now I'm just going to have it as my Tinder profile, basically.
Love it, love it.
Because do you feel like there is still a stigma, or there's maybe perhaps like an unknown kind of?
I think there's misconceptions. Yeah, I remember when I started going to the gym, and you know, people I would be working out with, they'd be like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" And I didn't play football for like 10 years because I was worried about getting injured. And honestly, this is why I want to do the challenge, to say nothing's going to hold me back. And having a stoma or a Crohn's is just, it's like my superpower. It gave me a whole new lease of life. You know, I since diagnosis to that surgery, I didn't have, like, I was just existing, really.
Yeah, and now you're not. You're absolutely thriving.
Yeah, I'm thriving. I've got a new album, tour, all of this, touring the world. I'm on the sofa with you guys. It's all good.
Let's talk about Saturday, then. Yeah. So you're doing one of the SAS's final real tests for the people to actually get clearance to join.
Yeah,
That was a big intake of breath he just did. He went,
honestly, it's brutal.
It's known as the fan dance?
Yeah, it's known as the fun dance, yeah. And it's like, yeah, basically, if I complete it...
Not if.
Well, I'll be part of the army, basically. They can recruit me. They'll be like, sensitive singer-songwriter.
So tell us what it is then, Tom. You've got to talk us through it.
Oh, God, it's... yeah, even saying it is just brutal. Basically, it's... me. Oh, God. I don't even want to think about it, Ben. I've been training for it for months.
OK, that's good.
Do you want to do it for me?
No, I can barely walk at the minute. I've done enough right now.
Yeah, I'll be basically weighted, and like for the first bit, I've got to go up a giant trek hill, and then I've got to run for like 8 miles of weights, and then go back, and then come back down. It's brutal.
It's relentless. In the Brecon Beacons.
Yeah.
It's their final test, isn't it? The SAS,
yeah, it's
to get into the regiment.
basically to apply for a candidate to be
To be in the regiment.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, because if you don't do it within a certain
yeah,
period
yeah.
of time,
Oh,
like,
they'll
they
be
get
telling
really
me to do
tough.
push-ups. It's the staff they're not gonna like me when they see me, but yeah,
It's going to be
It's going to be great, and it's
extraordinary
the most important thing. It's for Crohn's and Colitis UK, and yeah, it's just for anyone at home that's struggling right now.
And as well, you've got a new album.
New album
Coming
yeah.
out, Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Which sounds fantastic as well. You've been working with some amazing groups and artists.
Yeah, tour. Yeah, it took us to Brazil for like about a month ago, and Argentina. It's honestly a whirlwind, and to be physically fit for tour, and it's honestly a dream, because it has been a really rocky road up until now.
And with regards to, this is one of the myths that you wanted to dispel. You're doing this really physical challenge with the stoma on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's no issues with any sort of physical. You can swim with it.
Yeah, swim, anything's possible with it. Yeah, and there's not. It doesn't hold me back in one way.
And you are now on the market. You're single.
Yeah.
Doesn't hold him back in any way.
no,
You
no.
just heard that,
We
didn't
know what
you?
his Tinder profile looks like, but maybe we can help. We're here to help.
Oh no, you're going to set up some helpline.
Helpline?
Do you know what?
Line, more like.
My mum's a big fan of the show, so that's. Let's focus on that rather than my disaster.
What's her name?
Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. Good
Also, as
morning
well,
to you.
she watches this on catch up.
Does she?
That's quite insane, right?
No.
No, that's
right.
lovely.
No, that's
Thanks
great.
very much,
Thanks,
Jenny.
So we'll also
very
get a
much
poll. How many
appreciate
of you
you.
guys watch this on catch up? So I was thinking, yeah.
We can test her later.
Yeah.
We'll be catching up with you next week to find out how you do on Saturday. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Great to
for
see you
having
looking
Tom.
so well. It's brilliant.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. And Ocean joins us now live from New York. Good morning, Ocean. Lovely to talk to you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
The documentary is absolutely wonderful. It's truly, truly fascinating. Where did your love for sharks come from? Where was your inspiration from?
Yeah, thank you so much. It really probably came from my parents. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. I come from a long line of water people. And so they clearly love the ocean, hence my name. And so I was lucky to grow up and actually get to see what sharks are really like, to see them in their natural environment before ever seeing them on a Hollywood fictitious film screen, like films like Jaws. So I think that helped a lot for being able to distinguish between what is the reality and what is, the sensationalistic view that they're often portrayed as.
Do you remember, Ocean, what your first encounter with a shark was like and how old you were?
I think I was around 7 or 8. I remember being not that far from shore and having a beautiful shark swim from underneath me along the sand. I was probably only in about 3 meters of water, and it felt like time just stopped. And as it passed underneath me, I had that moment where I thought, should I follow after it to learn more, or should I go in because I don't know that much? And I'm forever grateful to my younger self for taking that pause, that moment, and that intrigue. And I slowly followed after it, observing its behavior. And I like to kind of joke, I've now followed them around the world because I've been able to dive with more than 30 species around the world and work with them. And it's incredible to get to know them on a deeper level, to be able to spend so much time in the water with them, because there's so much more to them than what the general public sees.
Yeah. Were you scared, though? Because even at 7 or 8, a big creature, whether it's a shark or not, swimming underneath you can be very intimidating.
I think I had a natural hesitation, and I think that people, it's good that they have a natural hesitation about things that they don't understand, which is why I gave it some distance and followed from a distance. But I really think that maybe due to other experiences with marine life and given my water background and my proximity to shore, I think that there's a lot of personal factors that went into that. And that's something that I do with my work, is trying to help people to overcome that disproportionate level of fear they have that keeps them out of the ocean and not caring about sharks, and replacing it with a high, healthy level of respect. And that comes through understanding of their important ecological role, their capabilities, and how to actually swim with them as safely as possible. Because some people would just say, oh, just stay out of the water, stay out of the ocean. But it's that disconnect that I feel that often leads to apathy, and, and that feeling or lack of feeling of connection is unfortunately very prevalent. And I think it's exacerbated because of films like Jaws.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, actually, what do you think of that movie, and how do you think it
50 years old this year.
Yeah, it affects people's perceptions of these amazing animals?
Yeah, I just think that it's unfortunate that sometimes that's people's first experience with it. And it's so far away from reality. It's a Hollywood kind of got wrong, was not just the portrayal, but it really sort of planted a seed in people's imagination where they didn't have a lot of information. But what we have now is social media, and we have drones. And so now people can start to see the reality that, yes, sharks are there. And that common misperception that people have there, they think if a shark in the vicinity that it's gonna come up and eat them. The reality is they swim past surfers, swimmers, and divers all day, every day. And it is so rare that they make a mistaken identity bite or a territorial bite or a bite out of the brink of starvation. I'm living proof for that as well. I swim with them every single day. But yeah, I'm so grateful for drone footage now, essentially showcasing that to people.
Ocean, you have faced and do face quite a lot of criticism as well from people who suggest that the way you interact with the sharks isn't what we should be doing. If you go into the sea, you can look but don't touch. We could see some of the footage from the documentary, but also some of your Instagram footage. There's you touching a shark that you know clearly very well, and you're playing with its nose, and you're rubbing the underside of its body as well. What do you say to those critics?
Well, there's a couple things. For one, I am a professional. I grew up doing this. So I'm not trying to encourage people to replicate what I'm doing. I have a 6.5-minute breath hold. And obviously, I spend my entire life focused on this. But I do that so that I can teach people what to do in an emergency situation. I want to help people coexist, because if they're just afraid of sharks and they don't know what to do, either they're going to encourage a bad interaction if they're approached and they panic and they splash and thrash like an injured animal and swim away. And also on the regards of touching, sometimes it's necessary in those situations when you get that less than 1% of the chance where you have an inquisitive or curious individual who comes up. And even then, most of the time, they're still going to turn away. But for people who are critical about me touching sharks, I just wish that they would redirect that attention towards the touching of sharks that actually harms sharks. So shark finning kills over 100 million sharks every single year, as well as bycatch in the industrial seafood fishing vessels. And then we've got culling going on in Australia and South Africa. Shark fishing is still prevalent over in the United States. And some deep sea sharks are even getting fished out just for their liver oil for cosmetics, pharmaceuticals. And many sharks are killed just for their jaws and teeth for the souvenir trade. So if you really, truly, actually care about sharks or care about wildlife being touched, please help save some of those sharks. Don't criticize me for putting my soft little human hand just pushing the shark away gently, which doesn't harm the shark.
Ocean, can we talk about your technique a little bit? Because you talk about it in the documentary, and you almost compare the sharks to horses and how they feel kind of electrical impulses. And in the documentary, you go from making yourself small to kind of making yourself big, and then kind of redirecting the sharks by pushing on their nose and pushing them away. How did you create this technique? And were you not terrified the first time you did it?
So growing up with horses certainly helped me because you have to be able to leverage off of them to maintain space so that your feet don't get stepped on, so you don't get kicked, so you don't get knocked by their head. And so it's natural with working with horses to maintain physical contact that also allows them to sense sort of your tension. And so I know that maybe only horse people totally understand that, but for those people who have dogs or cats, I think that maybe they can understand that when you walk into a room with your pet, that they can pick up on tension, stress, intention, and that if an animal were to run at you, and this is including human animals, that you might need to maintain space. So putting a hand on top of their head or snout, locking out the elbow to be able to leverage or maintain space is just a safety technique. And so I share that online, not as a showy type thing, but as an emergency procedure, because I'd rather people know what to do if a large, curious shark swam up to them, rather than what I think the human instinct would be to panic, splash and thrash like an injured animal, which is just sort of going to provoke that predatory response. So it's kind of like teaching kids in school. If they were to catch their shirt on fire, you don't just run around, you stop, drop, and roll. And so if you're approached by a large shark, you don't splash and thrash and panic and turn your back and swim away, encouraging it to chase you. You look at it, you face it, you extend your fins towards it, if you have fins on, or any inanimate object, surfboard, camera, whatever it is. And if anything, move at it. And yeah, if it comes up that close enough to touch, at the last minute, putting your hand on top of the head, closing out the mouth, locking the elbow, and moving off to the side. Now, I understand that these safety techniques, I've obviously trained a lot of people to do this. I've got a team of marine biologists that work with me in Hawaii at One Ocean Diving. We guide people in the water all day, every day. We wouldn't be able to do so responsibly if I didn't teach those people how to do this for that 1% of the time that they get that curious. But I'd still rather people have this information for safety purposes, because my ultimate goal, trying to get people to coexist with sharks, it means that I need to help them to actually coexist. Otherwise, they don't care if sharks exist, if they just think that they're monsters and they don't know what to do, or they don't know much about them and they don't understand them. We generally don't protect that which we do not understand. So I'm just trying to help people understand sharks on a deeper level.
You do a great job
of it. The documentary goes a long way to certainly illustrating that they aren't monsters. Hopefully, I'll never be in the situation where I have to employ the technique, Ocean, but I know what I need to do if I do get a shark coming towards me. Thank you for joining us. It's very early in the morning over there, but it's been lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ocean. And The Shark Whisperer is on Netflix
Oh, hello.
now.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now, you might think you're quite good at stain busting or pretty handy with a hoover, but I bet you've got nothing on our next guest.
Oh, no. Blood, brains and biohazards are all in a day's work for Lauren Baker, who is now taking us behind the scenes of her unique profession in a new documentary series, Crime Scene Cleaners.
The
maggots.
The maggots turned me a little bit. An extreme cleaner, Lauren Baker, joins us now. God, you do look absolutely so glamorous, I've got to say.
Thank you.
I mean, the maggots, what was that in?
That was in America, I believe. That wasn't one of our ones. That was in America.
So tell me a little bit about your job. Give us like a rough outline of a job description.
Dirt and grime. Dirt, grime, filth, anything, that can cause harm to the human body is what we do.
In all capacities?
Yes, yeah. So that could be where someone's bowels have exploded, to an unattended death where they've then passed. It could be needle sweeps, it could be hoarded properties, it could be mental health crisis cleaning, it could literally be anything.
Can we just go back? Did you say bowels had exploded?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you pass, your organs start to shut down. So sometimes when we attend properties and we attend unattended deaths, their bowels have erupted before they've actually passed, and then they've made their way to a place where, or they've tried to make their way to a place where they're going to be comfortable. And then, then you've got the clean up from that as
hence
well.
the hazmat suit, hence the masks, hence all of this sort of stuff. We're not just making you... This is actually what you have to wear, because that could be really, really bad for you guys if any of those that those bodily fluids or any of that matter sort of gets into your bloodstream?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We have to make sure that we're fully equipped, double-gloved mask, like respiratory masks, so we can actually breathe, and our goggles, and, yeah, we just brought these in as well, so they go right the way up your arm. So it's quite, yeah, it's quite tense.
How on earth do you start in this world, Lauren?
Good question.
I'd done a really, really dirty property when I was just doing domestic cleaning, and I just wanted to help people. That was my sole thing. I wanted to help, and I knew that I could make a difference through cleaning.
Because that person, I think that person had sort of a dementia.
Yeah.
And clearly no one had been in the property world, and no one was there to look after them.
Yeah, so they had carers, but unfortunately they got to a point where, with their condition, that they just didn't want the carers in there anymore.
Right.
And then the home just deteriorated, and then, yeah, that's where we stepped in. And that's when I soon realised that there is actually other people out there suffering like this. And then, obviously, hoarders then come about, and hoarding is a thing, and that can come in many shapes and sizes. So it is quite tense, it is, but I just wanted to help people.
But you've also been into, like, crime scenes as well and cleaned up after crimes.
Well, we do, like, unattended deaths, so that could be anything from a crime scene to someone just falling and passing at home.
Right.
Or it could be where there's been an assault or something like that has happened, and then we're the team to go in and clean that up afterwards.
And Lauren, do you go in there and kind of try and guess what happened as well? Because obviously you've got
CSI on it,
yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Like, my brain would start going, OK, well, that's there and that's over there. What happened when?
Yeah, so we do sometimes, like, obviously, I think that's just natural instinct, isn't it? Like, anyone would sort of walk in and be like, oh, my God, how did that get there? And how did that get there? And you do sort of... Yeah, I suppose you like to think you're a little bit of a... Detective, yeah, but obviously we're not. We're just cleaners.
Miss Marple with the gas mask.
Yeah.
You went to one hotel room that had... Essentially, you're walking in, it is like a scene from a film. It's blood all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realise that these things do actually happen, like, on a day-to-day basis. We did attend a hotel room once, and we was just told that there was a couple in there that some arguments had broke out, and yeah, it was... There was blood everywhere.
Wow.
I wonder, because it's one thing us talking about it and being sort of very stepped back from it, removed from it. But for you to actually go in there and do it and deal with these things on a daily basis, does it ever get quite tough for you, understanding that this is happening?
It can do. Your unattended deaths and suicides, more so than anything, they can be quite difficult. They can be quite tough ones to deal with.
How do you process it?
You become sort of not immune, but you do sort of just... It's a job at the end of the day, and somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's got to do that job.
And you take great pride in it as well, don't you?
I do. I absolutely love my job, and I wouldn't choose to do anything else now that I'm in this line of work. Like, I wouldn't sit there and think, oh, I'm going to go back to fully employed and go and work back in a pub or anything like that. I couldn't. I really enjoy what I do, and I meet so many different people, and I help so many different people on a weekly basis, and that for me is everything. I love helping people.
Yeah, so. Because you're so respectful in the dock as well. Like, you do a thing where you open all the windows.
Oh, I've got to open the windows. You've got to open the windows.
Like,
You've got to let them be free.
Let
them go. Like, you don't trap them in there because they passed in there. They didn't obviously want to pass in there.
Yeah.
So you've got to let them go. Like, undo the windows and let them be free. And I do walk in. I do have a little chat with them.
You're quite spiritual about that sort of thing. You believe that they're there?
Yeah, I believe in... Yeah, I don't believe that you pass and that's it, you're gone. Like, your spirit leaves you and you've got to release them, open the window. So I sort of walk in, I go, oh, hello, love, you all right? Like, if it's an old girl or if we've had, like, a gentleman or whatever, I'm like, oh, hello, mate, you all right? Like, you can go and be free now, and I open the windows and, yeah. I mean, my team sort of look at me and they're like, are you sure?
No, I get it. But can you tell when somebody has died? Do you actually get that information, or is there something about the room, like, can you tell when somebody's died?
Not always.
Right.
Not always, because sometimes, like, we've been called to clean-ups where there isn't that much clean-up. You may have, like, a tiny little bit of blood, and you haven't got that much clean-up, but obviously you've still got to carry out your same process as what you would do if you had, like, an extreme clean-up. And sometimes they do let us know, like, sort of how they passed or what's happened, but sometimes we get very minimal detail.
What's the hardest thing, do you think, Lauren? What never leaves you?
Suicides.
Yeah.
Suicides, because a lot of the time, like, people calculate their suicides, and we've been in some before where we found notes and We found like envelopes where they've actually left it and they've said, this is to go to this person, this is to this person.
And you've come across that?
We're the ones that find it first, and then we have to go back to the family and say, this is what we've come across.
It's a huge responsibility, isn't it?
It is, it is.
We underestimate that, I think.
Yeah.
And those are the things that people don't actually realise. So when a loved one or a relative or whatever has passed away, it is difficult because people don't know that cleaners like us exist. So they end up having to deal with that trauma by themselves. Whereas hopefully with this documentary, we can get the word out there and we can say, listen, you are in safe hands. There are
share that
people.
burden for them.
Yeah, we can take that element away from it for you and we can help you. So that's sort of, yeah.
You also find some weird and wonderful things sometimes as well, don't you? Didn't you find a cat in the freezer?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit much.
Why was the cat in the freezer?
Because they couldn't let it go. They couldn't let it go.
The cat had died?
The cat had died.
Yeah.
The cat was dead.
Yeah. And it was somebody who was a hoarder, I think.
Yes.
The cat had died and they didn't want to let the cat go, so they put the cat in the freezer.
Would you put me in the freezer?
I'll keep you close at all times.
Excellent.
I won't let you go either.
But yeah, that was more of it. They didn't want to let it go. They just couldn't part with it. But I did sort of have to step in and say, this is not hygienic. You can't have this in there with your food in there as well. We need to. Can we go and bury it in the garden?
Yes, have a little ceremony.
Yeah, let's have a ceremony. And we very much did have a bit of a ceremony. And I was like, come on, we can do this. Like, let's do it together.
It's like a counselling
It
service
is,
as well,
it
Laura.
really
It's
is,
amazing,
isn't it?
absolutely amazing. It's been lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming
Thank
in.
you so much for having me.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Time to talk to our next guest now, but it's not the first time they've been on This Morning.
Yeah, 24 years ago in 2001, Sarah Mayer appeared on this show as a newborn baby when police were desperately trying to find her birth parents after finding her in an abandoned car park.
This little sprog here was abandoned in a multi-storey car park. She was barely an hour old. She was discovered inside a hold-all by the car park manager. And actually, I'd just add to Mum, if you are watching, she's very, very healthy. Yeah. She's a good weight. Yep. She's a healthy girl. There's nothing wrong with her. And as you can see, she's absolutely beautiful.
She is gorgeous.
So you needn't worry about her that way.
Well, sadly, that nationwide search back in 2001 wasn't successful. But now, 24 years later, Sarah has reignited the hunt for her birth parents with the help of ITV's Long Lost Family team. Sarah's
here now alongside social worker and Long Lost Family's lead searcher, Ariel Bruce. Good morning. Welcome back, I should really say, Sarah. How was it watching that clip?
It was crazy seeing it again.
Yeah.
Like, being back here is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, all those years ago, like, being back is insane. Like, it's like a full circle because I've been able to find like my birth parents, and from back then it was an appeal, like of who were they, and now it's a full circle of we found them. So like it is just crazy.
Of course, growing to a certain point, you're completely oblivious of how you've come into the world. You are just existing. You're just being looked after wonderfully, of course, by your adopted family. When did you first become aware of the circumstance to which you had arrived and came on the show and everything about your birth?
I've always known, like, my parents have always kept me informed with everything. Like, they've always done it, like, absolutely perfectly, I would say. Like, they've always done it the right way. Like, they've always, like, told me how, like, the way which, like, my backstory was. Like, they've shown me the clips, they've shown me the newspapers, they've shown me everything. So, like, I've always had that as my identity. Like, I've always had my identity as, like, my history. So I've never not known, like, and that's the way it should be.
And did you always have a million questions? And were your foster mum and dad really good at kind of answering those as best they could and keeping mementos of your time when you were found as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like, they were, like, excellent at it. Like, any questions I had, they answered. Like, I've got a whole box of everything. So, like, I've got a box of all the pictures. I've got a box of, like, it's an evidence box of police stuff. Like, it is that. But, like, it's mine all the same, and it is my story. And, like, I love it. Like, it is mine. And, like, I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud to say that is mine. but like they answered any question I had. They answered it to the best of their abilities, and like I love them for that. So like,
Of course.
Brilliantly handled.
So what made you want to then find out a bit more and maybe contact your birth parents and reach out to the Long Lost Family team?
Yeah, like I wanted obviously some answers. Like obviously I wanted to just find out what is out there, but also I wanted to see and wanted to show who is out there that like I had a good life, and I wanted to show them that, you know, I understand that whoever is out there would also have a question of where am I now? Like, because anybody out there would obviously have that question of like, where am I? Like, what am I doing now? And I wanted to show them that this is what I'm doing now, and I am okay, because like that is inevitably going to be a question they're going to have, and I wanted to show them that I am okay, and you know, I wanted to give them that reassurance, because like, you know, it's fine for them to, you know, put it to bed that I am fine, because I'm at peace with it, and like I understand that even if they didn't want to meet me, that's okay, because I'm okay. So that's just what I wanted to show them. So yeah.
There was a lovely moment actually in the doc where you talked to Wendy, who was the police officer who kind of came on the show with you here, actually. There was such a lovely connection between the two of you, and you talked about the letter that your birth mother, we think it was your birth mother, sent.
Yeah.
What was that? What did she say in the letter?
In the letter, my birth mother was thanking everybody for looking after me.
Yeah.
And again, like the amount of work that everybody put into my care at the start was immense. Like, and the amount of gratitude I have for them is immense, because they stepped up to be my family at the beginning. Like, and they don't get enough gratitude. Like, nobody does. Like, when abandoned babies get looked after at the beginning, those people don't get enough gratitude. They don't, because, you know, nobody thanks them. No. Like, they get a bit of thanks, but they don't get enough thanks. And they should get a massive thanks, because they are the start of the family for them, those people. Because for me, Wendy was the start of my family. So
really,
it was
really,
so lovely,
really
the
telling.
connection.
Ariel, it's such an extraordinary role that you play, and the whole of the Long Lost Families team, in helping Sarah and other people like her. But when we've got these cases in Born Without a Trace, and there's so little to start with, how do you begin a search to try and track down her family?
Well, I guess, you know, Sarah trusted us with her search, and that's the beginning for us. It's so important that there's that trust, and I'm very grateful, feel privileged to do this sort of work. But essentially what we do is we put Sarah's DNA across all of the genealogical sites that are available. There's probably 4 major ones, and we're looking for, and of course on those sites there's about 20 million people in all across the world, mostly in the English-speaking world. That's a big generalisation, but nonetheless, who have put their DNA on. And we then use a combination of the connections that we see through DNA to Sarah, combined with conventional genealogy. And it's a sort of building up of a forensic narrative. So that's something that actually Sarah will understand, because she's a forensic, I mean, she comes from a science background herself. So that's been interesting in itself. So that's the essence of it. So we put Sarah's DNA across all the sites and then start work with that. It's a mixture of science, good luck, and sort of detective work of some sort.
It must be extraordinary, though, when you get a breakthrough and you suddenly go, I think we found them, which, of course, you did in this case.
Yes, it's marvellous, but on one level, it's only the beginning of the story, because when you find people and start to have to think about making approaches, you know now you're in extraordinary territory, whether it is a parent who didn't know that he had a child, or whether it's a parent who is going to be very frightened at being found. And often a woman who leaves a child is a very distressed woman. She's in traumatic circumstances. When we then make an approach to her, we reignite that moment. So, you know, it's not just a moment where we say, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. We actually say, it's fantastic. oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what now? And for Sarah, finding and having contact with family members is actually not an end. It is the beginning of a very long, lifelong journey.
It's a huge amount of responsibility, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. And you actually found and went to go and meet your biological dad, who didn't know anything about you, essentially.
Yes, no, like, it was an insane meeting him. Like, and the fact that me and him are so alike is just insane. Like...
So he didn't even know that you existed?
Yes, like, he didn't know anything. Like, so for him to welcome me into his family, like, the way he did was just, like, insane of him. Like...
But wasn't there some weird connection as well where his mum worked in the hospital where you were brought to as a baby as well?
Yeah, so when I was initially brought in to the hospital, so there's a chance that she would have met me. So
You got some answers about your birth mother as well, and I think you've said, look,
Yep.
you understand it's complicated, but the door's always open. You'd be happy to meet her at some point in the future.
of course, yeah, like, the door is always open and it will always be open. Like, I understand I've had 24 years of being able to process, like, my whole story, basically, and everything about it. So that's enough time for me to process it, and she's had just this short amount of time to process it. So it's going to be a long time for her to process it. I understand that, and I will give her that time. Like, that is completely understandable. It's a complex thing, and I understand, like, life is complex, so I will give her that time. And the door will always be open. Like, I'm not going to close that door. So, yeah.
It's amazing. It's wonderful to have you back on the sofa.
Yes.
All these years after you first appeared as that tiny little baby look in Judy's arms. Just amazing. As ever, Richard cooing over you.
Yeah. There's Wendy.
There's Wendy. And we've actually got a little message as well for you, Sarah. Where do you want Sarah to... Over there. If you look over there, it's quite far away, obviously, but have a look. Here's a little message for you.
Hi, Sarah. Well, what an end to an incredible story. I just can't believe it's almost a quarter of a century since you were with us, just a little babe in arms, on the This Morning sofa. And we were so genuinely passionate about trying to find your family for you. And after all these years, it's just brilliant news to hear that you have, and you've met your dad as well. It's just a great end to an amazing story. So huge congratulations from Judy and from me. And what can I say except... have a great rest of your life. Lots of love.
There you go. How it all started for us.
Yes.
And it's lovely to have you back. And Emil, thank you so much as well for coming in too. Really, really special to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Long Lost Family, Born Without a Trace continues this Wednesday at 9 p.m. on ITV1 and ITV8.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
This blows my mind.
Yeah.
The idea of deliberately showing yourself up in public is probably the last thing most of us would ever want to do.
Apart from us every Friday. But it's actually the thinking behind something called rejection therapy, which is a technique that encourages people to put themselves in awkward situations to combat their own fear of rejection.
And for our next guest, Sophie Jones, it seems to be working.
And Sophie's here now. Hello, you.
Oh, thank you so much for joining
You are
us.
so brave.
You. It's honestly crazy.
Doing this stuff.
It's crazy. I honestly, if younger me could see the confidence I have now, she'd be so shocked. I wouldn't even say boo to a goose, and now look at me.
So let's talk about younger you. Where did this all come from?
Well, I've always had a fear of rejection, which I didn't know, and it wasn't until maybe about a year ago I had like my first big girl corporate job, and I was just terrified to put my ideas forward. I went through a really horrible breakup and I was scared to date again, and I just cared what people thought of me. And then I saw this concept of rejection therapy and it terrified me, and I just thought, imagine if I do this rejection therapy, where could this new confidence take me? So
look where it has taken you. You're now sitting on This Morning sofa because, I mean, you've got over 400,000 people watching you on TikTok, on Instagram. People are obsessed. What do you think people resonate with this? What do you think it helps people?
I think it resonates with so many people because we are all guilty of holding ourselves back because of that little voice we have in our head. The one that says, don't do that, you'll look stupid, they'll judge you, what if this, what if that? And we just care so much what people think of us, and rightfully so, we're human. So I think it resonates with people because it's just such a unique concept. Like, who is actively pushing themselves out of the comfort zone? Not very many people, but it's changed my life, and I hope I can advocate to change other people's.
What's the first time you did it? Like in a context like that, where you were just like in front of people and they're all going, "Why is that girl doing that?" So what was the first one? Do you remember?
The first one was with my sister. I just asked her if she'd want to borrow my hairbrush because I hated just hearing the word no. I thought it was such an attack of my character and my worth.
Aww.
I know, it's really sad. So I literally started the challenge just with my friends and family, and I really took it slow. And then the first one I did on TikTok was I went and watched an amateur theatre production, and I was sat there watching it, and at the end I asked if I could sing with the band. And it felt so scary just to ask to sing with a band, but now looking back, that seems dead easy.
So hold on, does some people actually say, yes, you can go and sing with the band? And are you happy about that, or do you kind of want to have that rejection?
Well, this is the thing. The amount of crazy opportunities I've had, because I'm asking a question expecting to get a no, and they've said yes. So I've gone into a pizza shop and said, can I have a go making the pizza myself? He said, yeah. I've gone into an ice cream van and he said I can make my own ice cream. I've done rock, paper, scissors with strangers, asked to try the shoes on, and said, yeah. My mind is blown. People don't like to reject you, and it's made me actually form a nicer relationship with how I view strangers, and people are really nice.
And it's a weird thing, absolutely couldn't agree more, right? Kindness to strangers is one of the most important things in the world. And it's always so unexpected as well. But it's a fine line, isn't it, between you don't want to annoy anyone and get in their face, and people might be how you were, which is not particularly confident and don't necessarily want a camera in their face, with putting yourself out there and hopefully making someone's day better. So and you seem to be able to walk that line pretty well.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Is it just intuitive, do you think?
Yeah, so I always go off like my own moral compass. I'd never do anything that's rude, disrespectful.
So important, those words, aren't they? Your own moral compass.
I would never do anything illegal. I always just think if there's no risk to it, so it's a bit of harmless fun, you know, going and asking for a discount or
wearing a wedding dress in Tesco.
Wearing a wedding dress, my mum's wedding dress in Tesco. It's harmless fun, and the thing is, I'm anxious beforehand, thinking people are going to judge me, what if I annoy anyone? But the feedback I tend to have is like, you've just made my day.
Yeah.
If we're just not afraid to just live a little
Also, some
more.
people just don't want their life on camera, so it's a very difficult thing for you to kind of like, gauge. But do you think, is it called a vibe check you do? You work out if the vibe's going to be good or not?
Yeah, so I always use my discernment when approaching strangers. I'd say to anyone who's thinking of doing rejection therapy, just do it in a public space. Don't go up to anyone who you think may be of risk to you, and just use your discernment. But it can just be as easy as striking up a conversation at the bus stop with a stranger. I asked these two random girls if they wanted to go for a coffee with me, expecting a no. They said yeah. And then we had a fun time.
And you had a lovely afternoon.
How would you be about it? Because I think if someone I talk to, like, literally, you know, we're both like, we talk to everyone, right? But if someone's filming me, I think maybe I'd be a little bit more guarded about it.
I mean, are there videos where they don't make it online purely for that reason, or the reaction wasn't the reaction that you got and you thought, you know what, I'm not going to post that?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I went into a hairdresser's once and asked if I could blow someone's hair, blow dry the hair, and the reaction was a little bit funny, and I thought, I'm not going to post that for the moral reasons. But overall, the responses I get are really positive and quite fun, and even if I do get a blunt no, it just helps build your resilience.
And you ask them if they can post it afterwards, kind of thing?
No, so I don't show anyone's faces. I'll just record, like, the conversation.
Okay.
And then post it.
How has this changed your life? Because I know you're now earning money from this on TikTok. How has this changed your life?
In so many ways. The biggest way is just my confidence within myself is so much better. I see the world as such like a playground. Like, we're here to live, and I just don't take things so seriously. I can advocate for myself. Like, I honestly used to care so much what people thought of me. Even, like, on my first day of high school, I'd turn up with a full face of makeup. So just having that freedom has changed my life.
What's interesting is what you said at the start of the interview, which is, like, you still care about what people think of you, which I think is a good thing, because that means that's empathy, right?
Exactly.
So you're not saying people just shouldn't care what everyone thinks of them all the time, But this has obviously freed you in so many ways.
Yeah, I encourage people just to ask the questions a bit more, because obviously you're always going to care what people think of you. It's a natural human thing. But I think sometimes we care too much, you know, getting up on the dance floor because we're going to be judged. Get up on the dance floor.
Ain't it? Right, Sophie, you're on telly now. You're on This Morning. Is there anything you'd love to do?
I would love to read the little TV notes.
We'll read the next one, Sophie.
Whoa.
No, let her have a go, Sophie. It's lovely meeting you.
Yeah,
Can
thanks,
you do the
Sophie.
link to Jeff for us?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
It's competition time now, and we're giving you the chance to become a $250,000. Plus, for this week only, you could also be with our own bonus camper van. Jeff's in the studio to tell us more.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
First, though, it is every parent's worst nightmare. In 2017, Colin and Mandy Mackey's world changed forever when their 18-year-old son, Greg, died in his university halls in Edinburgh.
A toxicology report concluded he had the equivalent of 5 ecstasy tablets, but no trace of alcohol in his system. Colin and Mandy insist that their son was spiked, but to this day, nobody has been held responsible.
So as the government considers changes to how spiking is dealt with in law, Colin and Mandy join us to share their story and their fight for change. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. I'm so sorry for your loss. Greg sounds like an extraordinary young man. Mandy, tell us a little bit about him. What were his hopes and dreams? What was his expectation for life?
He loved life, really enjoyed life. He was a people person. He worked hard, he studied hard. He got into the university where he was going to do TV and media. And he literally had his life scoped out for himself. He had a place where, when he finished university, he was going on to Australia. He'd had a place in Australia, so his future was actually good, and he was so positive. He was positive about everything. Very positive person.
You say his future is good, he was a super positive person, but all that was taken away from him. What happened that night?
Well, we got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was 2 police officers that called us, come knocking on the door, and they just come in and said, your son's died from a drugs overdose. No. You know, Greg had nothing to do with drugs. Greg has never had anything to do with drugs.
And he wasn't a big drinker either.
No.
He wasn't really massively into partying at all.
No, he was a very cautious person. He'd already done some filming on depression, and he was actually, at the time, he was doing studies and putting a programme together on drugs. So he was aware of everything. You know, he would never take his eye off the ball. So for them to say that it was a drugs overdose, plus he was into his sports, he was into speedway, he was into boxing, he was into fitness. It was something that never actually was part of our life.
No.
You know, it never entered our life. So for someone to come and tell me something like that, you know, it's, no, you've got this wrong.
Right.
You know, there's no way, there's no way.
And Colin, so when you responded like that to the police, understandably, and you say, look, we know our son, we know exactly who he is, we know this isn't a possibility, what did they say to you?
Not very much, to be honest. They were very slow to react. Basically, on the day they came and said what happened to Greg, and they left us. They, with no family liaison officer or anybody to turn to at all, there was nobody really talking to us. And we had to sort of chase the police to find out more and more information, which is quite challenging in itself, because obviously we want to know what had happened. And we just kept pushing. And even in the day when we were finally allowed to see Greg's body, the police on the day turned up late for that as well. So, yeah, so for a very challenging time, you know, we just felt really let down, and that's why we've moved on to where we are now, which is campaigning.
Yeah. So your understanding, your belief is that he was spiked. When you suggested that to the police, what was their reaction? Because the toxicology report was that he had the equivalent to 5 ecstasy tablets in his blood. No alcohol, but there was an awful lot of ecstasy in there, wasn't there?
Yes. Well, what had happened was the statements they had got, because they had interviewed, I think it was about 74 people in the halls of residence, and they said that he had been drinking and he had taken the tablets himself. So I was going, nah, no, definitely not. He wouldn't do that. You know your child. And obviously when the toxicology report came through and it said that he hadn't been drinking and there was equivalent of 5 ecstasy tablets, then it was a totally different ballgame. And we said, look, we told you, if he had been drinking and every child could possibly take one. But they even turned around and said that even people that mess with drugs would never have taken that many. They know that that's the dangerous limit.
So was there an investigation that took place? Was anybody ever charged? Was anybody ever suspected?
No one was ever charged with it. Yes, they did have an investigation, which was quite a long investigation, to be honest. But at the end of it, the police officer that we were dealing with said he'd got it down to 2 suspects, in his opinion, but he didn't have enough evidence to get it over the line. So he could never prove, that it actually happened, and eventually the Procurator Fiscal just dropped the case. I said, that's it, that's as far as we can go, and unless they get any new evidence from anybody, then the case is closed as far as they're concerned.
How have you managed with, I mean, it's a number of years ago now, but how have you managed with that, with the way that the investigation is handled and where you are now with what happened to your son?
The more we've looked into drink spiking and spiking in general, we can understand, go back 7 years, it wasn't known, the knowledge wasn't known as much as it is now because of putting it out there. When we wanted someone to help us, we went to a lot of organisations and no one was interested. They said they couldn't help us in any which way. They didn't deal with anything to do with spiking. So we looked deeply into it and we thought, this is a black hole. No one's dealing, everything around the issue is being covered. You've got your drinks, you've got your rape and all that. But no one was dealing with the main problem, the main source. And obviously, we're victims as well. Our family have been victims to it. It's a knock-on effect. You don't want someone else to go through what you went through. I do sit back and wonder how many parents out there have sat back and honestly believed that their child did not take a drugs overdose. But because the police have just said it is, they've left it at that.
Yeah. You've set up a charity, Spike Aware.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
We found it because, as Mandy said there, we didn't want people going through it.
Yeah.
We looked for something, there was nobody there, so we said, we've got to change this and we want to raise awareness of it and get changes in the law, because the law wasn't substantial enough. So, first of all, we've spent the last 6, 7 years advising people how to protect themselves, etc. And also just to give them the confidence to know that there's someone there they could call up, they can talk to. And it can be the parents, it can be the victims, but we're there and we understand what they're going through, be it a victim or the parent. It now looks like we're going to have this standalone law. It's going through in England and Wales, and we're moving on to that, which is a good thing. I think it's good for the victims. It's going to give them more confidence to come forward and report. I think it's also good for the police because it's going to give them a clear direction, because the law as it stood went back to 1861.
Oh, wow.
Which so we've kind of brought it forward now so that spiking is going to be a standalone offence. We're still campaigning.
You want some changes to it, though, because the law as it stands, you don't feel is quite addressing all the issues.
We found some, Colin was reading through it and he found a slight loophole. And the loophole, once it was mentioned when he was in for the witness, a few of the lawyers looked at it and thought, yeah, you're right here, there is a loophole. So there's a wee loophole in it that we need to be filled in, because there's no point of it if that loophole's, if Colin, not a lawyer or a politician, can can find it, you know, a lawyer's going to find it easy enough, and that's your way out.
Yeah, and it's to be tougher on the perpetrator.
That's what it is, yes, because currently there's this loophole where you've got to show intent.
Yes.
And this is the gap. And we have discussions with Joe Robertson, MP, and he put forward an amendment last week to try and strengthen up the wording of the bill, which unfortunately was voted down and is now going to go to the House of Lords. So we're not giving up, and between us and other MPs, there was cross-party support for it, and it was only the government who voted it down. So we're wanting to strengthen it up because we want change. We want it to be a standalone offence, and we feel that's the only way forward.
Yes.
Is we need to start seeing people being prosecuted.
Sure.
Because once there's prosecutions, that is going to be the ultimate deterrent. And we have to have this so it's easy for the police, victims and the perpetrators to understand what is going to happen to them if they spike a drink.
It's a really clear message, and you really hope that they hear it as well. Thank you both for coming in. I just wonder, Mandy, you know, my youngest is about to sort of leave school and go to university. There'll be loads of our viewers who are thinking about that, and we often think it's university when they're suddenly independent, looking after yourself. What's your advice to the young people who are about to have a lovely summer as well, or off to university next year, with regards to keeping themselves safe when it comes to this?
Well, what we always say too, because we go into the schools at a very young age, so we're educating at a young age, and we want it educated right the way through the schools into. So it's going to be something they're going to grow up with. That's the way we want it. And you're the only person that can look after yourself, protect yourself, look after your friends, and trust no one. If it tastes funny, ditch it. You know, there is stuff out there, there's covers out there and all that where you can protect yourself. You can put over your drink, because if a glass is left uncovered, that's where they're going to go. Perpetrator's going to go to something that is easy. So, but be aware, look after each other. Something out of the ordinary, you know, talk up, come forward. And we really need the males to come forward as well, because it's not a girl thing. It's not just women and girls. It is right across the board, any age. Our youngest has been 11, our oldest has been 82, and it's done for so many different reasons now.
82.
Wow.
And just finally, I would like to say sort of, if you see it happening, call it out, report it.
Yes.
And if it's one of your friends, to tell them, say, why are you doing that? Make it socially unacceptable. You know, if it's your friend who's going to do it, or someone you just know at college or wherever, call it out there and then and say, if you're going to be like that, you're not part of our group.
It's not fun, it's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
We're out of time, but thank you both for joining us and coming in. I think it's a really timely message and really clear as well. I really hope you get that amendment to the law, particularly. That feels like it sort of needs to happen, doesn't it? We did speak to the police in Scotland. This is what they said. Every report is taken seriously, with extensive inquiries carried out. Where perpetrators are identified, they are dealt with swiftly and robustly. We would encourage anyone who believes they have had their drink spiked or been assaulted in this way to contact the police in Scotland on 111 or use the emergency number 999. Much to your message, if you think you've been spiked, then tell somebody about it.
Yes.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
And they're the 10 and 11-year-olds who've taken matters into their own hands to improve what's on their school lunch menu.
Yeah, after researching why school dinner uptake was low, organising taste testings to encourage others to try new foods and growing their own veg, they've been nominated for a Jamie Oliver Good School Food Award in recognition of their impressive commitment.
The Asset Arrows, that is a good name, and I need to find out exactly who came up with it. Join us now, alongside Deputy CEO of the Asset Trust, Jackie Bircham. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, morning. Jackie, let's start with you. How did this come about?
So, Asset is 15 schools.
Yes.
Every school elected 2 children who would represent all children, pupil voice. And we bring them all together half-termly, and we ask them to really think about what they want to change, what's important in the world, and what they want to lead. So there's 30 of them all together, and they call themselves the Asset Arrows.
It's a brilliant name. Where did you came up with the name, didn't you? Did it take you very long? Did you have all different names before that?
Yeah, we had a few, but I thought Asa Arrow was really good because it incorporated our logo.
It's a brilliant idea.
And you're moving forward, surging forward,
yeah.
making a difference.
Yes.
Jackie, what didn't always start with food, though? It wasn't initially just food that you were charging the kids with thinking about and talking about, was it?
No, we spent some time thinking about how they feel about the world, what's fair, what's not fair. So we played a game where you go over this side of the room if you think something's fair, you go over that side of the room if it's unfair. So we said, footballers get paid more than firefighters, and they were like, definitely unfair. Children
Depends if you're a footballer, though.
Well, yes, there was a little bit of debate. Not everybody went all on one side, some potential footballers. And things like, you know, there are children who have to pay for education in other countries, definitely unfair. And then we asked the question, adults get to pick what children eat. And they went one way, then they went the other way, and then this wonderful debate started. And really what came out of it was they said, well, you know, we might eat chocolate all the time, we might eat sweets all the time, but it's important that adults make sure that we know what's good for us, that we get a good education around food, that we choose foods that are right for the planet, and adults need to kind of step up and make sure the choices are there and that we know what we're choosing.
Brilliant.
So that was why we did it.
So, Logan, Emma, why did you want to change your school lunches?
I wanted to change my school lunches personally because I thought there wasn't enough variety as such, and I felt that other people were the same, so I thought I'd try and opt in and help them.
That's a great idea. And Emma, were they healthy enough for you, your school lunches?
Yes, they were healthy enough, but sometimes they were a little bit unhealthy, so I thought maybe we can make them a lot more healthy.
Nice. So, Guitars, you guys set about trying to change the menu and come up with new things. What sort of things have you started putting on it?
Well, there's these Nigerian balls, and they, Jack said they look like chicken.
Right, OK.
Yeah.
Nigerian balls that look like chicken?
But what are they made of?
It's like bread or something. I don't know. They're very sweet and like it's like the perfect amount. It's very nice. So yeah, it's like Nigerian puffs or whatever.
Brilliant. So you started trying to find different foods from the different cultures of all the kids that were in the schools and their families and stuff. So what have you enjoyed about that then, Jack? So other than the Nigerian puffs, anything else?
I've enjoyed. What have I enjoyed? That's a lot. I've enjoyed making the foods with people from different cultures because, like, in this country, it's like mainly English people around, and like I just feel like having other people from other countries and like cultures and stuff coming here and cooking with us is just very nice.
Yeah.
Makes you understand everybody better,
sure.
doesn't it? Faith and Elsie, how did you choose what recipes went into the book? Because I'm guessing you've got loads. Did you taste test them all? What did you do? How did you choose it?
So we let our school decide because this is what they want. So we done like a survey sort of thing to see what people like. Yeah. And then we asked people to make their own recipes that is personal to them and their families, and they think it's healthy and enjoyable to everybody else. So we decided that, and then people just gave us their ideas and recipes and we put them in a cookbook.
Lovely. Elsie, what recipe did you come up with, or can you remember?
I came up with some cheese scones.
Nice. Who likes the cheese scones? Yeah.
Yes, favourite.
What is a cheese scone?
It's a cheesy scone, Jack. It's not compared to a Nigerian puff, but trust me, cheese scone. You've got to try some of Elsie's cheese scones. They're sensational.
Jack, have you been growing vegetables as well at your school?
I mean, I can't really remember vegetables, but I remember...
When you say you can't remember vegetables?
I can't... We have been, like, growing stuff.
Oh, nice, OK.
What have you been growing?
I kind of forgot, but I think we've grown a few potatoes and stuff like that.
That's good.
Just basic stuff and, like, weeding and stuff.
Do you enjoy that part of it?
Love it.
Getting stuck in, getting your hands dirty?
It's so fun.
Yeah. For sure. And Lila and Jada, I know that you guys chose the name, or Lila, you chose the name, but you've been doing some blind tasting as well, as we were talking about. What sort of things have you been blind tasting, and what sort of difference does that make to some of the other kids, just in terms of whether they want to try stuff or not?
So we're gonna add like some new food things on our school menu. But before we do that, we're gonna do the blindfold tasting. So we're gonna have all the year groups from our school, except for year 6. So we're gonna give them 3 different types of foods, so they can try it before they can have what's on the menu.
Right, it's not like a bush tucker drill that Ant and Dec would make you eat, though, is it? This is nice tasting stuff.
It's a bit like that. Oh,
is it?
No grubs.
And Olivia and Esther, you've cooked community meals as well. Do parents get to try the food too?
They don't actually, but we do. We make it at schools,
right?
So that the children can try too.
Oh, excellent! And what's been the favourite at your school?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. What about you, Olivia? Have you got a favourite that you've discovered?
Probably the like the cheesy bean wrap.
Cheesy bean wrap. There's some amazing things. So obviously, you guys know you got nominated. Jack, what did it feel like when you found out that Jamie Oliver had nominated you for this award?
Felt all right, I guess.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, you guys have been working really, really hard.
You have. And actually, the exciting news doesn't stop there. We've got some more exciting news to share with you.
So obviously you got nominated for this year's Good School Food Leader category for Jamie Oliver's Good School Food Awards. Well, we can announce that you haven't just been nominated, you've won. Congratulations.
You guys. Well done.
Here we go. The Good School Food Leader Award.
Oh, my God.
Yes, here you go. This is your award.
That's for you.
Would you like to hold it, Jack?
And that's not all. Our friends at Merlin have kindly provided you all of you, including all the members of the Asset Arrows who can't be with us today,
in total.
entry to a Merlin attraction of your choice. So you get to go to a theme park and have a super-duper fun day out.
How does that sound?
Good?
So good.
Yeah. So good?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah? Oh, my God. Do you like roller coasters?
Yeah.
OK, well, buckle up.
Do you like roller coasters more than Nigerian puff puffs? No, it's a hard choice.
Hard choice. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. Congratulations, you guys.
Yes.
You're winners.
You're doing an amazing job, Jackie. Thank you for bringing them all in as well, and the parents and all the assistants as well. There you go. You're going to all fight over who's going to take the trophy home.
Take the spoon home.
But it's been lovely to see you all. Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
8-year-old Toby was born in a rare condition, leaving him with the use of just one arm. But despite being fitted with a prosthetic, he felt like it was holding him back.
Yeah, determined to enjoy his hobbies to the full, the Lego mad lad set his heart on a more functional arm with a unique design. And he's here alongside his mum, Deborah, and Cole. Welcome to the show.
Everyone.
Thank you for coming in.
Good to see you guys.
Now, Deborah, tell us about finding out about that your baby when it was inside you.
20 weeks pregnant, the first scan with him, and they told us it was horrible.
Unbelievable. So what happened then? What was the condition?
It's called Brachydactyly, and it's just basically the molecules and what have you that make up his arm just didn't grow. They didn't.
So did you know instantly something was wrong? Because the nurse walked out of the room, didn't she?
She walked out of the room, left us for about 15 minutes just going, what's happening with our baby? And they came back in, took us off to a separate room. And then when they came in, they weren't very nice with how they dealt with us, offered us a termination initially.
Oh, my goodness.
It's incredible how quickly you must become an expert in something that 15 minutes ago you knew nothing about, right? You just you go down that deep dive.
Thank heavens for Google.
Right, exactly. And then you see, quite quickly, see light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's a condition, but you can live with it.
Yeah, and he's just done amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We were put in touch with various charities and that offered us support and guidance and met other children that had similar limb differences to Toby, so we were able to learn from them.
And you've got 2 daughters already. I think one's 26 and one's 28 at the moment.
Yeah, Alex and Chloe, yeah.
So you knew you wanted to bring Toby up in exactly the same way?
Yes.
No different, is it?
Yeah, he didn't. We didn't. He had to learn his own way of doing things, so we've never held him back. Anything he's wanted to have a go at, off you go, boy. You crack on.
And Toby, you obviously don't remember anything about this, but so have you always been just very active and fearless and just going for it?
Give anything a go, won't you, mate?
What's your favourite sport to do, Toby? What do you love doing?
Yeah.
Bit of football. Fantastic.
Yeah. So, Toby, tell us a little bit about your arm, because you brought your other arms here when you were, was that one when you were a baby?
That one was.
That one there's the Blams when you were a baby.
This one.
Yeah. And then this other one with the Union Jacks on it. But was that one you weren't that comfortable with that one? Was it a bit sore? Okay. So tell us about the moment that you saw.
And that one was actually heavy as well.
Yeah, that one's heavy.
Yeah. When I first had it, but now it's not.
That's okay. Well, you're a big boy now, that's why.
Yeah.
So tell us about that time you saw a man in the supermarket. Was that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually in Tesco's.
Yeah. In Tesco's. they'll be happy about that. And what happened? What was he up to, that guy? What was he... Did he just have a robotic arm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you say to your mummy and daddy then? Like,
He said, Dad, I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want one of them.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
So what happened after that? I mean, how did this brilliant Lego arm come about?
Well...
Do you want to tell them about when we went down to Portsmouth?
Mum, you've done enough. You tell them, Mum.
So he's been visiting the Limb Enablement Centre in Portsmouth since he was 6 months old, and they've always been let Toby be fully involved with coming up with what he wants, what he needs, what he wants to use his arms for.
So nice.
Showed him a book with this design in it, and that was it. Second he saw it, didn't look any further.
We got quarter of the way through, and it was like, I want that one.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So did you know Lego was going to have Lego on it to start with?
No.
Ah, amazing.
No, and Toby didn't know until the day it was finished.
No.
When we picked it up, Dan, who built it, said to Carl, he said, "Look, what do you think if I actually incorporate some Lego into it?" And he was like, "Oh, my God, yes." Like, we're going to keep it as a surprise. It's going to be a secret. So Toby had no clue.
That's amazing.
So
Toby, what was that feeling like when you saw your arm for the very first time?
Amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
And can you show us how you use your arm with the Lego? Can you stick some of the Lego on?
Can you grab some?
It's literally like the actual board that you can actually stick it on.
That's what he's done.
That's your arm?
He's put it down so that it actually fits in there.
Look at it. Look, it sticks on. That's so good. I absolutely love it. When did you realise, Deborah, that he was so resilient and he was just one of those kids who would do anything and get involved in anything?
Literally from day one, nothing stopped. Even from the first time he held a bottle, he was using his little arm, and we just knew straight away that he's going to be fine. The amount of heart attacks this child's given me, though.
Really?
We'd go to the park.
That is so cool.
And you've got another piece in the top as well, haven't you?
It's got an extra bit.
Brilliant.
And Carl, what have you noticed day to day? What is the difference by having this arm?
So he's able to do a lot more. He's only had it for the last 3 weeks. He's had it a month, but the first week he managed to break it. As all kids
Already?
So I sort of... No.
No, it was Dad. I was
He come out of school literally absolutely sobbing, "Dad, I've broke it." And, like, the head teacher's come running over, Mrs Carter, by the way.
Hello, Mrs Carter.
Yeah, Mr. Carter.
And he's like, she's like, "What's happened? What's he done?" I was like, "No, he's fine. He's just broken it." I said, "But I'll get my toolkit out when I get home and I'll fix it."
Brilliant.
So I managed to fix that, and then we had to take it back because the harness is like a nylon material. So when he's hot and sweaty and he's moving, it started to break the skin.
Yeah.
So we took it back, and on the same day we took it back, they had it all fixed, redone, and we was home with it within a couple of hours.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Oh, I
And
love
so
it.
It's amazing what they can accomplish, isn't it?
So good.
But your resilience and your bravery and, and your whole family, what a team.
What a team. I heard there's a guitar coming out soon. Are you going to be learning how to play the guitar?
He's going to be starting lessons at school.
He's going to be a rock star next, isn't he?
What happens next?
Don't
Because
forget Mum and
because
Dad.
you are going to you are going to grow out of that arm sometime, young man. So is the next stage the fully robotic arm?
Well, that would be nice. They have said that if Toby's using this one, finding the benefit from that, then his occupational therapist is going to start doing tests and seeing what he's going to be able to.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
that's definitely the aim. So hopefully within the next sort of year or so, we might be able to...
Yeah.
So the
Have one
youngest,
for
the
him.
youngest at the moment, we've been
actually
told
10.
is 10.
10 at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I think she was on the show, wasn't she?
I think so.
she came on the show with that.
And so he's hoping to be the next one at 9.
Brilliant.
That's your aim, isn't it?
Yeah,
what
you'd be
he's
the
aiming
youngest
It
one.
does, however, have to incorporate Lego, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, listen, we've been in touch with the kind people at Legoland Windsor, and they've offered you, your mum and your dad a lovely trip with a hotel. It's in here, so you can go to Legoland. You're going to stay overnight.
How cool
It's
is
going to
that?
be incredible. And not only that,
They're
we've
good.
also got a little goodie bag for you as well. It's got a few Lego bits in.
Drop that. It's like, drop that.
And they've given you that for free.
There you go.
What do you
For
say?
free.
Would you say? What do you say?
What do you say to Legoland?
Say-
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh,
Pleasure.
so much. Thank
So
you.
lovely
you're more
talking
than
to
welcome.
you.
Thank you for coming on and showing us how you use your arm.
Thanks, Toby. You're a proper inspiration, all of you.
Maybe you could come on and play the guitar.
Yes.
You know, you're really good. You can come and show us what you've got.
You have to learn the This Morning theme
Lessons.
tune.
And if you want, I'll sing with you.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
hit
whoa.
record
Let's
there.
not be too hasty about that, too.
Thank you for coming on. Thank
you
you so
for
much.
having
And
us.
hopefully that's
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, you may think it's a disease you no longer need to worry about, but last week, a grandmother from South Yorkshire tragically lost her life after she was unknowingly infected with rabies whilst on holiday in Morocco.
Yvonne Ford from Barnsley received just a small scratch from a stray puppy while she was on holiday back in February, but only became ill 2 weeks ago, at which point the infection was too severe to treat.
Now her family are speaking out in the hope of preventing this from happening to others. In a statement, Yvonne's daughter said, "Our family is still processing this unimaginable loss. We never thought something like this could happen to someone we love. Please take animal bites seriously. Vaccinate your pets and educate those around you."
Well, look, we're joined by Dr. Zoe to discuss this. It's always extraordinary, this, Zoe, because rabies isn't here in the UK and it always feels so far away.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly hear the tragic case of Yvonne. It's
Yeah.
really shocking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us go on holiday to places like Morocco, Tunisia, Turkey, where these are countries that are considered high risk for rabies. And, you know, a case like this, it's a reminder to all of us, isn't it, that rabies hasn't gone away, whilst it has here and in Western Europe. And when we're travelling further afield, we need to take precautions where necessary, and we need to know what to do if we do come into contact with an animal.
So can you just tell us a little bit about what rabies is?
Yeah, so it's a viral infection that infects the central nervous system, so that's the brain and the spinal cord, and it's got a long incubation period. So, like we just said, you know, typically from being bitten or scratched or even licked, if you've got a wound, your skin is broken and you're licked, so it travels in the saliva, or even actually licking mucous membranes, so your mouth, your eyes, it can be transmitted from an animal. Typically, it takes 2 to 3 months before symptoms start, but it can take up to a year. And once symptoms start, it really is untreatable. So, you know, it's in 99.9% of cases, once it actually reaches your central nervous system and symptoms start,
It's too late.
Yeah.
it's too late. So it's really important that people are aware that if they're in a country, you know, before you go on holiday, check which countries you're at risk of rabies. For people who are going to be in those countries for a prolonged period of time, if you're going to be working with animals, you know, if you're going to be going running, cycling, where you're at increased risk of coming into contact with an animal, then it is worth considering getting what we call pre-prophylaxis, so getting a series of rabies vaccinations before you go, which you can pay privately for. But the main thing, even if you have had that or if you haven't, if you are scratched by an animal, bitten by an animal in one of these countries, then you must seek immediate attention. Wash it with soap and water straight away, wash the wound and seek immediate attention. Even if you're flying home the next day, you must seek immediate attention in the country where you are and start a course of what we call post-exposure prophylaxis. So that's a series of injections. If you do that treatment, you're almost definitely going to be okay, but you can't wait to see if symptoms develop. You've got to assume the worst and get treated.
And is that even if it's a minor scratch, anything even minor?
Yeah, anything that breaks the skin, which means that saliva can get into the body, then you have to take action. And I think, you know, we can all imagine if it's a little puppy and the animal an animal can be infected with rabies and not showing any signs. Or sometimes in the early stages of their infection, they might even be more affectionate. They feel a bit off and, you know, they can be domestic animals, or they can be strays. So I think any animal in any of these countries, even the slightest bit of scratch, if the skin is broken or if they've licked a mucous membrane, you've just got to take it seriously.
And are there 2 different types of rabies as well?
Yes, there are. So about 80% of cases are what's termed furious rabies. So this is kind of, I think,
the stereotypical, what most of us will think of with rabies, where once the infection is set into the nervous system, people can have hallucinations, be very sort of overactive, sort of excitable, and people may have heard of it, they become this fear of water.
Yes.
Yes, we were talking about it.
Hydrophobia. And that's because if we think about how this disease transmits through the saliva. So people, you know, it's really, towards the end of the illness, it is a really devastating illness. People can lose the ability to swallow. So that's what, but you know, that's what the virus wants, because that means you produce more saliva, and the saliva's not going down, the saliva's coming out. So viruses want to multiply and spread. So that's why, you know, the virus wants that to happen to the body. So therefore people can become phobic of water and even air, because eventually it affects the respiratory system and the heart. So, you know, gusts of wind, or that can be very distressing for people as well. So that's 80% of cases. The other 20% is called paralytic rabies, and that's where this paralysis sets in, usually from the site of the bite, and spreads very slowly, and people eventually just, you know, become paralysed and
they're
go
both
into a coma
deadly,
and die. They're both deadly.
It's got an extraordinary mortality rate if it's left untreated.
99.9%. So there's these very, very rare cases, usually in clinical studies, where they're trying, you know, people are put into an induced coma and they're injecting things straight into the spinal cord to treat it. But yeah, once symptoms set in, once it reaches, so the site of the bite, so we was talking about how it can have this prolonged incubation period. What determines that partly is the severity of the bite, the amount of virus, you know, how much virus actually gets in, but also the location of the bite. So if you're bitten on the foot, it's likely to take longer to get to the brain than if you're bitten on the hand, for example. So yes, it's once it's set in, once it's actually reached the brain, you can no longer treat it, and 99.9% of people will
I've got
die.
just a vague recollection of a sort of a drama in the 80s, which was about rabies, that you watched on television, and the animals, sort of like you said, they're very docile, but then they get very aggressive as well. And I can't remember what the drama was, or whether it was even a public information advert that was out there, because rabies was still here. Let's talk about the reality here in the UK. The two cases, I think the previous case to Yvonne's was back in 2018.
2018, yeah.
And that was somebody who'd been in...
Somebody who'd been in Morocco. And I think that was a bite. It was a man. And I believe that actually this same animal had bitten him and bitten a child. The child received the post-exposure prophylaxis treatment, and the man didn't. And he, again, several months later, came back to the UK, thought he was fine, and several months later developed symptoms. And
so it's one of the reasons we have such stringent quarantine rules for animals coming into the UK, isn't it? As frustrating as that might be for pet owners.
Yeah, so we've been rabies-free in the UK now since 1922. People may be aware of bats carrying a rabies-like virus. I think it's not actually rabies, but it's very similar. So with the exception of some bats, all animals now in the UK, rabies doesn't exist. And, you know, this is, I think the sad thing is, there are about 60,000 deaths globally, predominantly in Asia, Africa. About 50% of cases are children as well.
Right.
But this is 100% preventable disease, with vaccinations of both animals and people and post-exposure. If everybody received treatment, then the deaths are preventable. And in order to eliminate rabies in a particular area, if 70% or more of dogs are vaccinated, then that wipes out rabies and prevents people from dying for it. So the World Health Organization have this initiative called 0 by 30, where they're aiming for, in certain rural areas, to have wiped out rabies by 2030. I think they've been set back by the pandemic, but that's what they're aiming for. So it's about vaccination, because it is 100% preventable.
Yeah. So, Dr. Zoe, we've got viewers sitting at home watching, and they know that they're travelling to countries where rabies is prevalent over the summer. What would be your advice, and would you recommend getting vaccinated?
So I think, first of all, there's a website called Travel Health Pro, where you can find out the country that you're going to, whether it's low risk, moderate risk, high risk. If you are going somewhere that's high risk and you're going to be running, cycling, dealing with animals, it's worth getting the vaccination. It's 3 vaccinations that you need several weeks before you travel, so you should start looking into all of this.
Does it make you
about
feel
8
poorly
weeks before you go? No, well, you know, like most vaccinations, you can have a mild symptom, soreness at the site, a bit of a mild fever.
For other people who don't, if you're going to Morocco for a week, like typical, or Tunisia or Turkey, most people don't actually get vaccinations before they go. But just be aware of animals, stay clear of animals, even if they're pets, just stay clear. And if you have any interaction, a bite, a scratch, or even a lick, just seek advice locally and take the advice that you're given. Don't wait till you come home. I've heard of people thinking, wait till you come home. The sooner the better. But even if you're hearing this and you think, oh, I was bitten a month ago, go and seek help now. It's never too late, but the sooner the better.
Great stuff. Zoe, thank you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.